Hello, hello. Thank you everyone for joining Teach Jenn Tech. I am slowly getting used to saying that instead of shit you don't want to talk about. I keep catching myself. I'm like, no, it's not my podcast. It's Learning Tech. And today we have Rizèl. Am I saying your name properly?
Yeah, you are. Perfectly. Some people be saying Rizel,
Nice.
but it's Rizèl.
So. Sweet. As most of my guests have known, I'm horrible at names and I'm working on them. So I'm glad I got one of them right. This is exciting. And please introduce yourself and a bit about what we are going to go over today. And hello, lovely people joining our stream.
Hey everyone, my name is Rizèl Scarlett. I'm a developer advocate at GitHub. I've been here for about 10 months or so. In the past, I was a software engineer, but I like doing this way better because I get to talk with people like Jen. And what we're going to talk about is I'm just going to do a little introduction to Git and GitHub because I remember when I first chatted with Jen, she mentioned that she knows a little bit about GitHub, but wanted to know more.
Yay. And I don't Anthony had me put something with Git and I'm like, I'm following directions, but I don't quite comprehend it. So I'm pretty excited that we're going through this today. Perfect. So I will go ahead and get your deck loaded, which by the way, y'all, StreamYard is pretty legit in its ease of use. It doesn't do everything everyone wants, but it's actually pretty easy. I'm excited.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I'll get into this. Basically, this is a deck that I use at other talks, and I'm not gonna do it in the talk way, but I'm just using it to kind of guide me to make sure I don't ramble. But basically, first, I usually start by telling people that software engineering terms are kind of confusing. Back in the day, I used to think Java and JavaScript were the same thing. Apparently they're not. And that's the same for Git and GitHub. If I don't know if you already knew that, Jen, but for anyone listening, plus you, Git and GitHub are not the same thing. They're completely different, but they are kind of interdependent on each other. At least GitHub depends on Git. So first I'm going to talk to you about, let me just skip through all this that I have all this.
You have a cool deck though. I'm enjoying all the animations.
Thank you. Shout out to Canva. But first we're going to talk about the difference between Git and GitHub. Then I'm going to talk about a couple of features that GitHub has, and then we'll walk through uploading things to GitHub. Depending on how much time we have, I might show you the different ways that you can upload stuff to GitHub. And if not, we'll just do one.
I'm stoked for this because when I first started learning JavaScript, oh gosh, probably only a few weeks ago, I was doing it on LinkedIn and it wanted you to download Git. And I believe I'm going off of memory. And it also wanted to, and then I was like, well, why don't I just use GitHub? And I didn't understand the difference. And even Googling it, I'm like, okay, they do two different things. I got that far. That's all I know. They have two different things, very similar names, and that's it.
Yeah, no, I was the same way. I was even working as a software engineer and telling people, yeah, I know Git, referring to GitHub or vice versa, not realizing they were two different things. So no worries. Okay, so Git is a version control system, and I usually tell people yeah, okay, so what does a version control system even mean? And basically it's something that enables you to record snapshots of the projects of your projects as you save them through history. So if you make a change to one of your code bases or your projects, it allows you to save it and be on June 25th at 1 p.m., I made this change and I saved it right here. And the reason why this is relevant or important, I usually give this example that think about, well, for me, I have a lot of different versions of my resume. I know you probably can't see this screenshot as clearly, but basically it says copy of Rizel Bob Simple's resume. That's my maiden name. Rizel's resume 4, Rizel's resume 1. It's very hard to tell the differences between them and why I made them. And sometimes I've made them when I was in school for scholarships or for different jobs. And that can be the same with software engineering. Imagine you have many different versions of code. And in addition to that, like right now, it's just me working on my resume. But once you're working on a team with multiple different people, that makes it even harder to track. And things can be poorly named and stuff like that. So
real quick,
yeah.
After this, can you share your deck so that way we can share it out? We had a comment about it, and I'm like, this is going to be so good, even for myself, to go back and be like, okay, what's the difference again?
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah. And like, if you're wondering like what kind of different versions they would even have in code bases, like you'll have like the production version, or like people call it a branch, where that's what like users are using and touching. And then like if you find out or a user reports a bug or you have to add a new feature, you'll make a copy of production on your local computer. So then now you have a local version that you've updated and changed and added, like you either fixed the bug or you added a new feature on. So that's a little bit different than production. And then you'll put it up to another version called staging, where everybody tests their code before it goes out to production to see if everything's working. So just giving like more examples of like the different versioning, because before I worked as a software engineer, and I know you've had like a lot of more experience in tech, but like before I worked as a software engineer, I was just like, I don't know why they would have different versions.
No, that is so helpful.
Yeah.
And also, I think something that I always got really stuck on is, and I believe this is GitHub instead of Git, but like the master or like the top level. And I think that's on GitHub. So I'll ask more about that question later. But it's like all of these kind of blurred together from my past knowledge. So I'm excited that we're picking them apart finally.
Yeah. And I can even kind of answer that one right now. Like, master would probably be like your production version. And I think they've kind of started to stop using that word, because the origin was like master slave or something like that. And then once like the George Floyd stuff started coming out, people were like, yeah, let's change our terminology because this is kind of messed up. So people have been using the term main now, but some
Okay.
code bases are still on master because it's a lot to migrate over. But that's a good question.
Thank you.
But basically, Git manages like all the different versions for you, so you don't have to manage them yourself, because doing it manually is a pain in the butt. So it'll tell you like what the latest version is, who made the specific changes, why those changes were made. Because sometimes you'll see like a change in the code base and you'll be like, what the heck is that? And usually people use Git in the terminal or the command prompt. I've seen you using it on Ramon's when Ramon did his session, so you are familiar with it. Usually I tell people it looks like the thing on movies where people say, I'm hacking into the mainframe, but like it just helps you interact with the computer. You know that.
Really, really quick, can we just like comment? I get that I can't really, I am starting to just put code on the screen and like going into a browser, and I'm like, I feel like a hacker. I'm like, I can't do anything, but I feel like a hacker.
It does. Like I that's what I thought like engineers were doing when I would try to imagine. I'm like, what the heck are engineers doing? They're like hacking into the mainframe or something. But no, like it's not that cool. But it still does feels fun.
Yes.
And then
thank you, Ramon.
Oh, Ramon's here. Hey, Ramon. Oh, I'm not even looking at the comments. Hold on. Oh, hey people. I was literally in the private chat section. And Ramon already knows this deck because I actually did this at his coding boot camp.
Nice.
Yeah. And then for GitHub, you've used that a little bit, so you know it's a web platform. At like the simplest level, it's a place that developers store their code. And I remember you like talking to me and you were like, you think companies do or something like that? Yeah, like open source maintainers, companies that have like private code, people that are storing their own personal projects. Some people actually even store like their blog post or just regular written content on there. It's just like Google Drive for code, but there's like a whole bunch of other stuff on there. Like you can there's security features on there. There's automation features called GitHub Actions. I don't know if you heard of GitHub Copilot. There's like so many things on there, but like at the lowest base, at like the the first thing is like you store code on there. Does that make sense?
It does. The question that's coming to mind right now is, why would someone use Git instead of GitHub?
So Git is helping you to manage the versions, and GitHub is just storing the code for you. And well, let me go through the rest of this, and maybe
Yeah, for sure.
More sense, because I usually get really rambling. Let's see. So let's see. Okay. Here, this should answer it, I think. GitHub's a website that uses Git to show you all the changes that you made to your code, right? So like you'll put your code on GitHub using Git, and then Git will recognize the changes that you made, the times you made them, and it'll display it to you in GitHub. And I think I have a couple screenshots coming up. And basically you're using GitHub because it makes it easy for you to share your code with other people. Sorry, I just like started coughing. But back in the day, I heard, before I was a software engineer, I heard people were like sharing their code via email, via like FTP and different stuff that made it really hard for them to like share it amongst each other. So having Git was really helpful, but having GitHub is even more helpful because people can just send a link to each other and be like, hey, here's my code. And then Git will do the magic behind the scenes at like recognizing like, here's when it was changed, here's when this project started and stuff like that.
Real quick, that is pretty funny, Joe. And hello, Dustin. What up? And real quick, so like that makes sense, but I guess where I'm stuck is, and again, this is all like pieces just because like, learning out of order causes the confusion a lot too, is I used to work at an API spec company called Stoplight. Yeah. And when you would log into a project and like create a project, you could have it connect to Git or GitHub, and then it would make it so that way, like you had, if you submitted something, it would create like, it would create a branch or you could submit it to the main branch. But I guess where I'm confused is, can't you have versioning there like you can in Git?
So GitHub is using Git to identify when you're on the main branch, or identify when, like, what you're submitting it to. Like GitHub is just reflecting it on, like, it's just visually showing you those changes or visually showing you what you did. Whereas like Git is identifying that like you submitted this on the main branch, or here are the different branches. Does that make sense? It's like GitHub is the UI or the website for you to see it better rather than just looking in your terminal. Because before that, people were just like looking in their terminal, I guess, to see all of that. And then like GitHub is like where you can like actually see it and see what happened and what changes are made. And you can use GitHub to, I don't know if that's making any sense.
It's starting to make sense. Yeah. It's starting to make sense.
Git is like you're just using it in the terminal, and GitHub made it so that like everyone can see it, because not everyone can see your terminal, right? Not everyone can see what's going on within your terminal, because that's just on your local computer. So now that you're using GitHub, which is on the cloud and stuff, and your code's on the cloud or whatever, everybody else can, if you make your project public, everybody else can see what's going on. So GitHub is just reflecting the changes that happened within Git. And like people can, in the comments, go ahead, feel free to add in more clarification there, because I don't think I did a great job. But
no, it does make sense. It's starting to make sense. I think it's going to be a lot of like, when we go through it, it'll make even more sense.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do like you doing it from the terminal and then within GitHub's UI, and then hopefully it'll help it click a little bit more. So as Joe's saying, GitHub is a collection of repositories. It's a lot of things, right? Like here's my GitHub profile. It kind of reminds me of like a social media network, because like I have followers, I'm following people. It says a little bit about myself here, and it talks about like the different orgs I have. But most importantly, it has all the repositories I made. And like repositories are just folders that hold your different projects. So like I have or projects that I've interacted with. So like I've interacted with Open Sauce, which is an open source project. I made my own projects. Like I have a social card generator over here. And if we go deeper into that project, it'll show me the different files that exist, right? So I have like a gitignore file, a README, a JavaScript file, a package.json, and I have here, it reflects which branch or which version of the code is on it. So like you can interact with that, click that little drop down, and you'll see the different branches, and you'll click it and be like, oh, what happened in this branch, like on someone's local branch, or what does it look like in production or staging? I hope that gives like a little bit more clarity. This is like the UI to see what's going on within your code. It just makes it look better. And you could also see like right here, it has how many days ago things were changed and updated. So it says 20 days ago. And yeah, I'll stop if you have any questions.
Nope. I'm just going to give you what I've been telling all the other guests of like, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. So I'm just going to let it soak in and, we'll keep going.
Yeah. And I think sometimes things start to make more sense as you make your own projects. If that if that helps. I also like circled in on like one of these files here. So like if I clicked on the generate social image JavaScript file, oh, it went backwards. No. Yeah. If I click on there, I'll see the actual code that I wrote. And this is some really terrible code I wrote that you can see. But that way people, just showing you like people can literally see like what's inside of this file. And then you can also see commits. So what do we do in the event that we submit applications that are rejected by the bot? To whom do we appeal? What bot? I'm kind of confused, no lie. What bot are you talking about, Joe? Like there's a lot of bots on GitHub. So I don't know. So I'm gonna wait when Joe comes back. I'll try to answer that. But there's commits are just another way of saying changes that happened in your code or times that you saved changes inside of your code. So like you can see here, on January 14th, I made an update. On January 4th, I made an update, and it even has the message that I added, just to let people know. Could they mean CI bots that review code? When gets installer? To be honest, Joe, I don't know too much about that, but I could ask somebody at GitHub. I don't think I've interacted much with that. When get installer? Yeah, sorry. But basically, what am I saying? I can leave a message of why I added certain changes. Like I say right here that this was a fix to add a comment response. You can see that B. Dougie, who's my manager, added something to the code base. You can see MT Foley updated a file called readme.md. And if you wanted to, you can click on each of these commits and it'll show you the exact change that was made. And like that message just gives context as to why. Because sometimes somebody made a change to code and you're like, this change makes no sense. Like, why would you do that? But having that context is good. And you can always go back to the person and be like, hey, B. Dougie, like, why did you do this? I see that you made this message. I see that you updated this code. But I need to have more context on why.
On that note, like the commits make sense. And I'm guessing you're going to be going through this, but I just want to call it out. So that way, in case you're not, we know. What is like a PR, and is that different from a commit?
Oh, good question. So a PR stands for pull request. And what you're essentially doing with a pull request is you're saying that like you see whether it's an open source project or your company's project or somebody else's project, you're saying, I see that you have this code. I want to contribute or add my changes to it, but because people don't want people just jumping in and changing their code all willy-nilly, it's kind of like you're saying, here's the change I want to make. Do you like it? If yes, the person will approve it and merge it into their code base. If no, they'll leave a couple comments for review to say, can you change this first? And then they'll merge it in. So a pull request is kind of like a little bit of a stopper to say, hey, this person wants to add code to your code base. Are you okay with it? So you'll open up a pull request. And then the way that it's different than a commit is just a saved change every time you, like, a saved spot or saved snapshot every time you make a change within a code base. So it's kind of like pressing the save button on your Google Doc or something, and like it'll just say, oh, this was saved at 5:42 p.m. And the reason that's helpful, in addition to this, is if you're coding on your own and you're like, yo, this new change I made doesn't work, it kind of ruined everything, you could always go back to 5:42 p.m. or 3 a.m. or whatever you were coding, and it'll bring you to that point in time. Does that make sense?
Yes. Once a PR is approved, will it show up as a commit or no? Because it wasn't a save. It may just go into an approved branch or a different branch.
Yeah, it'll show up as a commit. It'll show up as a merge commit. So right here, you can see B. Dougie made a merge commit. He merged somebody's. I think he might have merged MT Foley's change. And yeah, right here, he merged MT Foley's pull request. And then now it shows up as a commit right here.
Okay.
GitHub is a lot. Git is a lot. Like, people have a hard time understanding it, and there's no way anybody can know everything about it. So just to get
thank you. I'm getting there. Like, I'm following along, but at the same time, I'm like, I still don't get it, but I get it. It's weird.
It's so much. Like, even I wrote a blog post once, and someone was like, if you don't understand Git, don't write about it. I'm like, nobody understands everything about Git. Like, relax.
Oh, I loved your struggles of a DevRel one.
Thank you.
I love that one.
Thanks. I appreciate it. There's also, I just wanted to make you aware that GitHub's not the only platform you can use, like not the only like website that stores code. It just kind of has a bit of a monopoly, I guess. When I wrote this, it had 73 million users. It has way more now. But there's other options like GitLab, Bitbucket, Gitbucket, AWS Code Commit, SourceForge. I like to make people aware of this because after I graduated my coding bootcamp, I had learned GitHub, and then I joined a job and they were using Bitbucket, and I was like, what is this? So just letting you know.
Those are all just different company names and different websites using it, but they all basically do the same thing.
Yeah, basically all do the same thing. Basically all interact with Git or a similar version control system. There's other ones like Mercurial, and I don't know, things that people don't use anymore. Maybe people in the chat know them. But yeah.
Now, for like something, and this could be a piece I'm missing too, like we've done stuff on VS Code.
Yeah.
And so when we do stuff to VS Code, if it is, okay, I'm trying to work on thinking this out. And it creates a project in GitHub. I don't know where I'm going with this question. I know they talk together, but I don't know how to break that one down. So
I think you would, and we could try this out. Like, you would go in VS Code, you will start typing some code. And then when you're like, you know what, I don't want to lose this, because you could totally lose your code from VS Code. Like, let's say your computer shuts down forever. You're like, okay, I'm at a point that I think this is good. You'll write Git in your terminal, and you'll use Git to push your code to GitHub or to store your code on GitHub.
So when it's in VS Code, it's just that's like a text editor kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then when you push a Git, that's when it creates a Git. So it creates like a Git file, and then it'll push to GitHub.
Kinda, yeah. You're that's pretty close. Yeah. Yeah. You'll type in your text editor. Yeah. Then
Okay.
you'll use Git, and then you'll say, Git, I want this to go to GitHub. I want this to live on GitHub. And it'll be like, okay. And then everybody can see it, or you'll be able to access it from that URL. And Ramon said he used a version control system called Subversion, and I agree with Joe. I hate Mercurial. Well, not hate. I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I know it's a lot. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm getting there.
Cool. All right. So now we're gonna talk about how to store code on GitHub. Okay. So we're gonna create a GitHub account. You have that. You install Git via your terminal. You might have that. I think you mentioned that. If not, we'll do it. It'll look like that. This is the website where you sign up, and then if you were like installing it in your terminal, this is how it will look. We'll do that later. You're gonna create a repository, and a repository again is, maybe we should do this right now.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I wonder. Yeah, let me stop sharing, and then you can share, and we just do this.
Okay.
Joe said, "Do you suggest using the desktop application for GitHub and Git?" Oh my gosh, wait, that's actually at the end of this presentation.
Okay.
But
let's go back.
Yeah, I'll just. Well, first of all, like I think it's a good option for people who like. I learned that like scientific researchers and stuff like that store code on Git, but they're not really necessarily familiar with like Git's, well, sorry, scientific researchers store code on GitHub, but they're not necessarily familiar with Git, and they may not have time to learn that, or like a beginner too, like who's just learning to code, like they may not know Git. So I think it's completely fine to use GitHub Desktop. In fact, like before I worked at GitHub, I thought like, no, you got to use the terminal. And then now that I'm working here, there's so many people just using GitHub's web UI, just like dragging and dropping things, just like editing the files directly. And I know there's other like tooling like Git Kraken and stuff like that. Like I'm all for it. Whatever works to help you submit your code, like do it. Because the important part is making sure that you store your code and you have those different versions. Because I had people tell me they're using Dropbox. I'm like, please don't use Dropbox. And and it's okay that you jumped ahead, because I think I was gonna skip this. Because it was it's something I say, but yeah.
I was just about to say it's like so good to like just ask these questions, because even if it is making us skip ahead, like we got to learn, and we're doing this together. That's why it's Teach Jenn Tech, because I'm like, there's other people that don't know this stuff.
Exactly. And someone said drag and drop gang. Yep, I agree with that. All right, go ahead and share, and I will walk you through this first thing.
Yay.
Cool.
My photo is like really big over here, so like we can minimize that a little bit.
But it's so cute.
Oh, thank you. Great photographer here in Denver. If anybody needs one, I know one.
So I think we have time to use multiple options. Let's do it in the GitHub UI first. Then we'll do it in the terminal. So you don't even need the terminal for this one. Let's just make you can just make that one bigger. Okay. And we're going to go to, on the top right-hand corner, there's a plus sign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we're going to click new repository. Basically, repository just is a folder for whatever project you have. So let's go ahead and click that.
Really quick, like new organization, I'm guessing that's just like a different company or something, like you want other people involved. But what's a new gist? Gist.
I barely use those, but it's like people save code snippets in there. from what I've seen. Like, I've literally never used it. I haven't found the reason that I needed to, but whenever I see people use it, it just has like a code snippet that they want to share with people.
And then import repository, can that do it with like VS Code? Is that like where you would import something, or am I just still not getting that one?
No, I think you're right. It's kind of like if you were on Google Drive and like uploading a folder that existed on your computer. Yeah, I think you can upload a folder of code that exists on your computer that you wrote in VS Code or something like that. I haven't used that much either, to be honest. There's so many ways. You just made me realize that that way is a thing. So let's go ahead and we can name this repository. And I don't know, what do you want to name it? We can call it Learning GitHub. I don't know. Cool. Rizèl is the best. Jenn is the best. Okay, cool. And then you can see that there are options to make it public or private. Let's just make it public. People that make things private, it's maybe they don't want people to see their code yet, or it's like a proprietary company and they're like, don't steal my code. We can go ahead and add a README file.
Do people ever look at the README files?
You said do people not, or do they ever?
Do they ever? Because I feel like when I install something on my computer, I never read the README file, but I don't know if it's different for code.
Yeah, I think I'm not a big reader either when it comes to technical things, but there are times where I do have to read it. Like if I want to contribute to an open source project, that'll have links and information on how I should interact in that project. And then sometimes at like different jobs I've had, like people will use that as an area for documentation. Okay. But yeah, it's just like a, hey, this is my project, here's how you use it. But like, I don't always read it. Kind of like you.
Good call, Ramon. He said README files are super helpful for getting started.
Yeah.
So
like
I should probably read them.
if you need to, like if you're like, I know what to do, you're good. But like if it's an open source project or like a company and you're like, I don't know what to do, it'll tell you. Okay, cool. And it already says that it's setting like main as your default branch. So I didn't explain branches that much to you, but basically you'll have this main version of your code, and like you can quote unquote branch off of it and add changes. And then once those changes are added and you're ready and they look good to you, you can merge it back into the main branch.
How many branches are normal?
1 million. I don't know.
Like if I'm working on a project, like how many branches is good to have or not have, or do they just like chill there for forever?
You can, hey, AJ, you can, it's a good practice to delete your branches after they were merged, but I don't think there's like a set number of how many you should have. It's just like how many you need kind of type of thing. It's almost like asking how much I don't know, but
okay. You know, these are the random things that I get stuck on, so I appreciate it.
These are good questions. But yeah. I don't know. Like I've seen a various amount, and it's just like depending on how big the project is. There's no rules or anything about branches. It's just nice to delete them after you're done. That way you're not being cluttered.
I get that. And hi AJ, and thank you for joining for a bit. All right. Next question for you, Rizèl.
Mm-hmm.
Add the what? The
gitignore. Yeah, that's a place where, how can I describe that? Okay, it's a file. We can add it if you want, but it's a file, and actually they have like different templates, and this file essentially tells you how do I say what I'm trying to say? It tells GitHub to not upload certain files within your project. So like if you have secret passwords that people can easily look through and scan your code base and stuff like that, you can say, hey, don't put that file in there, and GitHub will ignore that file and not add it. Or if you have like dependencies and libraries that will make uploading your project and downloading your project take forever, you can say, hey, don't add those. So this is literally its name, like telling Git, ignore these files. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Thank you. And I think we went through licenses kind of yesterday.
Yeah.
A bit. Yeah, we did the MIT license. Okay. Cool. I remembered. Yay.
Cool. All right, let's create this repository. Okay. So one of the simplest ways to add a new file is where it says, oh, and look, Joe said most coders, in my honest opinion, are not super organized, so that they are in branches that go somewhere is a benefit. Yeah, we're not organized.
Okay.
Go ahead and just click add file. This is like one method of adding code, and we can say create new file. And do you know are you familiar with HTML at all? Because I was thinking of making an HTML file.
That is groovy. I've been working on JavaScript, although Yere, I think he's going to be coming on tomorrow to do a code review from my very, very first stream. And I think I ended up actually writing it in HTML instead of JavaScript, but we'll find out.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we can make this super simple then. You can name this index.html. Perfect. And then in edit new file, we can just do like an H1. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Perfect. And then you can close that tag with a closing H1. And inside of it, we can add whatever you want. You can say Jen is the best.
All right.
Yeah, so it's remote. So it's everybody that really sat down here to join the stream.
Right. These are people that show up often. So anybody else, keep showing up and you'll get added to this list.
Cool. And now, now we made this file. Let's scroll down and shout out to Ramon. And I don't know how to say Jerry's name. Is it Jerry?
Is like Yere. I'm saying it wrong. Like I've tried really hard for it, but it's like Yare. Yeah, there are roles, I'm pretty sure.
Ooh.
Join tomorrow night and we'll be able to have him say his name like 7 times.
Perfect. And then what we're doing right now is we're gonna make a commit. We're just doing it in the user interface, and we're saying we want to save this. We'll commit it directly to the main branch just for the sake of this demo.
Okay. And then something that I'm just realizing that I saw that was different here is creating the file here. It doesn't have all the pretty stuff that VS Code really helps.
Yes.
With where I'm like, it didn't auto close my H1 or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, I like that VS Code does that.
Yes, I do too. And that's why people don't normally write their code inside of GitHub. They just use it to push their code up. I'm just showing you it so you can be able to kind of connect the dots once we do it.
Yes, and it's so helpful because I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
And this is why Bold Bearded Builder says this is why they never I really need to start working on pronouns, y'all, because I'm always like, I need to not assume that they have
commitment issues. That's hilarious because they have to do commits.
Yes. All right.
Oh wait, before you do that, actually you can make a commit message. So like in the top bar, it defaults to saying create index.html, the one above it.
Okay.
But you can give more detail or whatever. You can say created an H1 element inside of index.html.
Yay, that was super exciting.
Yeah, and then we can go ahead and commit that new file.
All right.
Cool. So you have your first repository, you created a new file, you added and you committed a new file to there. So we can do the same thing in the terminal.
Okay.
Well, also great job.
Thank you. I would, other than seeing it in terminal, if we have time, seeing it in VS Code, I think would be so helpful.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, we're going to use the terminal, but we're also going to use VS Code.
Okay, sweet. Because I was like,
you can't, yeah, we can't.
I'm pretty sure we did yesterday with Ramon a bit.
Yeah.
Ramon, I feel like he had me create my own folder that I put code into, and then we made a file and put it in there. I don't remember all those steps, but we did.
No worries. Okay, so one thing we need to do before we do all of what you're doing, I was going to clone this repository that you just made.
Oh, okay.
So basically, if somebody else wanted to use your project or contribute to your project, yeah, they can use the GitHub UI and edit the files directly there. But like you mentioned, there's no like highlighting, there's no linting to tell you if you made a mistake, there's nothing to like help protect you. So what people like to do is download it or clone it to their local repository and use VS Code. So what we're going
to really quick.
Yeah.
Something that you said that I know what it is, but I feel like any noobs like me normally wouldn't, is linting. Linting is a tool that will tell you if you have mistakes. And it is really helpful. There's a lot of linting tools out there. Seeing if I can talk. I like to think of it as it's kind of like a spell check for your code.
Yeah. It is. It's like Grammarly.
Yeah, it's like Grammarly and spell check put together. But I just wanted to call out that's what linting is, because that was a really, really hard word for me to remember what it did. Because I'm like, it's not removing lint, so why is it called linting?
No, I understand. It's a weird concept. Thanks for calling that out.
Yeah, for sure.
So click the code button, and that should have instructions. Okay, cool. And then where it says, you see that https:/github and has a copy button. Yeah, let's copy that. That's like the URL for this repository. And okay, now we're gonna head to the terminal and go to a folder that. Well, do you know how to navigate to different folders in the terminal? Okay, cool. Go to a folder that you want to save this to. Cool.
I gotta remember what the folder is called. It's called code folder.
Cool.
Okay, let's see if I like remember what Ramon said. It's called code dash folder. If we want to do it,
if you don't remember, you can do ls, and you'll see where you are kind of and what folders exist. So
how do you do it without the quote marks? Is it a dash or is it?
I don't know if I know the answer to this question.
That's okay. I'll do it the way I remember doing it yesterday. Oh, I'm not in.
Yeah. You're not in like your documents folder or your desktop folder. Yeah. If you type ls, it'll show you what folders are around. And Ramon said something about it being the %. Cool.
Okay, and now I should be able to. I want to see if it's this way. Nope. Okay. Cool. Yay! I'm in the proper folder.
Cool. And now you can type Git Clone and then paste. So Git space clone. Sorry, and then paste that URL that you copied. Cool. And then if you type ls, you'll see, okay, cool. You'll see the Rizel is the best folder, and then you'll see the other files that you made with Ramon when you were learning Express. So
I'm totally just side. So it's just okay. I was just curious what would happen if I pasted it.
Yeah, it's just the link to there. But now you can open it in VS Code. So now that it's on your local computer. So we can go
Okay,
to
and
VS
that's
Code.
how we got it to the logo. So
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, perfect.
And
you can click the Rizèl is the best folder and press
I
open.
open the folder, not just the file, right?
Yes, that's correct. Because now, if you see those files, you'll have that H1 that you made, and you'll have the README that you made too.
How does, when I save this, because I cloned it, does that mean it's only saving locally, or is it resubmitting to the original?
So it'll only save locally, but we'll use Git to push up your new changes to GitHub.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Sorry, this is so much. Okay. First thing we're gonna do is let's add your changes. Let's add some new changes. Like you can add a H2 that says something else random.
And just for those watching, if you didn't catch that, this is something that I was talking about earlier of when I was writing H2. How did I do it? I did it like 2 seconds ago, and then it auto added my closing H2. And that's something that I really like.
Me too. You'll love Copilot if you like that. Yeah.
Here we go.
Perfect. Okay, and then we'll press save. And we know that it's not on GitHub yet, right? Like it's like those changes are not going to be there. But
I'm just going to go double check, making sure it clicks in my head.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it only has that. What we can do now though is we can add it. So in our terminal, let's go back there and let's cd into Rizèl is the best folder. It feels really weird saying, but yeah. Cool.
Yay.
We did it. And now we want to create a new branch. That way this is a best practice because you can commit this new change to main, but it's easier to make sure you didn't make any mistakes or roll back your mistakes if you create a new branch or new version of your code and then merge it in. So the way you create a new branch is by using this command that says git checkout -b. So you can type git and then space checkout and then space dash lowercase b and then space. And inside of quotation marks, we're going to name our branch. Regularly, you don't have spaces in branches. So, I don't know. You can name it whatever you want.
Something, I don't remember the order he said, but it was like when I was working with Anthony, he was telling me. So I'll just do that.
Okay, cool. And just so you know too, it'll still put the date, but that's an interesting, like I think that makes sense for today too. And then we can press enter. And it created a new branch for us. And somebody told me, can you go to VS Code? I want to see if this is true. Oh, cool. In like the left bottom corner of your VS Code, it says the branch name. So if you ever I don't know what branch I'm on, it's right there. And like you can create new branches within VS Code too. So maybe I could show you that after. Like we do the terminal and then we do that. Because we have it's like we only did 48 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how much time we have. But okay, now in the terminal, so you made a new branch. Now we can do Git Status to see which files we changed. So Git space status. Cool. So it says we only changed the index.html. I always like to check that because sometimes like you could have accidentally changed another file. And I just like checking. Yeah, that's happened to me multiple times where like I've left in like things that I was using to debug. Like I'll like leave console logs that say what's up, and then I don't want to like merge those in to the code base. All right, cool. So then we can do git add. So git space add, and then space. Oh, not done yet.
I got excited. But it's kind of cool that it adds hints. Like maybe you wanted to say git add period. Another hint is turn this message off by running git configure advice dot add empty path spec false.
That's
But
cool.
I like that. I like that it gives hints.
Yeah, I like that too, because I don't remember giving hints when I first learned to code.
So git add without hitting enter.
Yeah. And then we want to put the file name that we're adding. So index.html. If you had multiple files that you changed, you can add each one of them separately, or you can do, like it said, git add dot, which adds all the files. But like I said, I try to stay away from that just in case there's any mistakes. Cool. So you did that. Now we want to do git commit. And this is where we're like saving it in time. So you do git commit -m. Oh, sorry, actually space -m. My bad.
Above that, just really quick, it says git commit -a. What's the difference between -m and -a?
I think that's amending or like editing your commit message. I believe. Someone correct me. I could be wrong. But that's like when you're saying, so you make a message or you make a commit and you wanna update it or change it. You're like, dang, that's not what I meant. You'll use git commit -a, I think.
Okay.
Or not. I'm not sure. But feel free to correct me.
We can Google it later.
Yeah.
We'll Google it later. All right. So -m.
Yeah. And then you do a space, and inside of quotation marks is where you'll do that message on like saying what you changed or added. Yeah.
I don't know why. Ramon says what you said sounds right.
Okay, cool. Let's I trust Ramon. Cool. And then close it with quotation marks and then enter. And then last but not least, we want to do oh no, I'm wrong. Ramon said it wrong. It sounded right. I say a lot of things that sound right, but they're not. While Ramon helps us out, oh, he said don't trust me. No. I trust you. Okay.
Yeah, Ramon, you're right a lot of the times. So is Rizel. So I'm trusting y'all, but I can fact check as well. Even though I'm gonna be like, hey, I heard this at some point. Not sure if it's right, but I heard this. So
yeah, fact check me, please. Okay. Now you're gonna do Git Push. It may come up with a message, but we'll see. Yeah. Just copy that line right there. I never remember it. I always just type Git Push and wait for it to tell me this. Yeah.
I like that idea.
Oh, okay. Ramon said that -a is for all. So it's another option to doing git add and then that dot.
Cool. And it just says, so this one, we can show this. Tell the command to automatically stage files that have been modified and deleted, but new files you have not told Git about are not reflected.
Oh, okay. I'm wrong. I think the amend one is like -am or something. Okay, cool. We did this part, and let's go to GitHub and see if our changes are in there.
Ooh,
cool. So they're not in this branch, in the main branch, but if you press that drop down, you'll see that you made a branch called July 12 . You could click it, and you can see the changes if you press that index.html file. And like you'll see both of them, right? But go ahead. You're gonna talk.
Oh yeah, I got a question. Yeah. Okay. So if we do things with in VS Code and Terminal, we've been able to do like localhost to see what it actually looks like. Is there a way to see how it actually shows up? Is there a local host for that?
Yeah, we can. So let's merge this in, and then I can show you one way that you can see those code changes. So
Okay, cool.
If you go back to the main branch by switching that thing, yeah, that's a good question. And just click the code tab. I don't want to be inside of this file anymore.
There
Cool.
we go.
Yeah, let's click compare and pull request. So we can make a pull request to merge the changes you made in the July 12 branch to the main branch. So yeah. Exactly.
Because it was kind of weird. Like when I worked there, our marketing team would have to do stuff, and they taught me how to approve pull requests because the way it was set up is you couldn't just commit; somebody had to approve it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know. And okay, so that's cool. There's a draft. There's a not draft.
Yeah.
You can change reviewers. You can assign it to people. We got some labels.
Yeah. All good stuff. Yeah. I like the draft one because it's like I put those up sometimes if my work's in progress and I just want people to know I'm not being lazy, but I'm still working through it.
Ramon
Do it,
Ramon.
To review it. Add him as a reviewer.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
maybe you can't. Maybe he'll just go ahead and review it. My bad. That was
what's your GitHub name, Ramon? Is it Ola Soy Milk with some underscores?
I think that was a bad idea for me. My bad. He might.
I kind of like it. But I'm going to go to a new tab, so I keep this one open. And because I wonder if you have to follow them first. Do you have to follow them to add them?
Oh, Ramon wants to make a PR. He doesn't want to approve it. Gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, you could. Let's do it.
And it's here. Oh, wait. That's a different.
I never did that before.
And then is it code? Is under code? There we go. There we go. Paste. Maybe.
Yeah.
There we go.
If I want to make PRs, go ahead. Let's do it. Okay, cool. And now let's go to your PR. And I mean, you don't need an approver because you're the owner of this code base, so you can go ahead and merge it in. And you
have to click into it. You can't just approve it.
Yeah.
Or
because you need to see, I guess they want you to see that, like, make sure you're looking at the code before you approve it. And like look at the changes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if we go to it, you can see if you go to files changed at the top.
Thanks. I was like staring at it for a moment. I'm like, where is that?
No worries. I didn't really say, my bad. But yeah, you can see like it does say like, oh, this green line means you added that line. So they want to make sure you look at the stuff before you just go proof things. But if you go ahead.
Okay. I was just reading it out loud. No new line at end of file. Okay.
Yeah.
What do these mean? The at -1 +1 2?
No clue, but I think they just mean you added one line. No, you have two lines, but no clue. I just kind
of I don't know.
Yeah.
One line's the same. One line's the same. We added a line, so there's a total of 2 lines.
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll go
with that. Some good questions. That's stuff I just like kind of just accepted and ignored. Oh, Ramon said, I think it's from Git command line stuff telling you what changed. Yeah. get gobbled. I can't even say that. You can't really approve your own stuff, but we can just merge it.
Oh, I want to approve my own stuff.
I know.
That would be fun. Okay, so I go back to the conversation.
Yeah.
And merge, and then commits just show what are the checks?
I think sometimes people have like tests that run to make sure that they didn't break anything within the code. So if you had any tests that were running, it'll show up here and be like failed or passed.
And Joe, I'm going to add you in the future, and you're just going to get like sent random things as I'm figuring this out, just as a heads up. Okay, merge pull request.
Yeah.
I'm just reading it. So merge pull request number 1, and it says who's it's from, and then the file, and my note of added h2 inside index.html.
Yeah.
And I can leave another comment.
Yeah, you can be like, good job or not good job.
Cheer myself on. Yay, Jen.
Let's go.
And then, so we can create a merge commit, which commits all from this branch will be added the base branch via a merge commit, squash and merge. That's just really fun to say. The one commit from this branch will be added to the base branch, and rebase and merge. The one commit from this base branch will be rebased and added to the base branch.
Yeah, lots of confusing.
I'm not even going to ask about those right now. I'm just going to do the commit.
Cool. And then press merge. Yeah. Okay, cool. I thought you were going to forget that.
Confirm. Aha, merging.
You did it.
Yay.
Cool. And then you said you wanted to see it live.
And then, so is this where people delete the branch after they merge it?
Oh, that's a good question. Hold on. Let me remind myself where you do that, because I will just have you not knowing how. Give me a second.
Yeah, because it says it can be safely deleted.
Oh, yeah. Do it. Delete branch. I didn't even see that.
Okay. It says pull request successfully merged and closed. You're all set. The July 12th, 2022 branch can successfully be deleted. Okay, bye, branch.
Bye, branch.
You're not a tree anymore. You just got one main area. No more trees or roots for you.
So I know you wanted to like preview. How much time do we have? Oh, like 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
You wanted to preview the code kind of like you do in localhost. There's a thing called code spaces. I don't think you have access to it, but like just for people who are watching, you can use code spaces to code in your browser, and you can like look at your code locally there. But another option is
I'm just gonna Google it.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Google that, and then I'll show you a different way. PR is cool. And we can approve Ramon soon.
Ooh, this is just fun. Okay. But to go back to where you were, you wanted me to go to a different one other than code spaces?
Yeah, but I don't know. What do you want to do first? Ramon just made a PR. Do you want to
let's do that
and merge it, and then we do the other one?
Yeah, so we got one pull request, which I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't like earlier it made that one pull request like really well known, and this one I'm just like, I didn't even see it unless I looked for the one.
I think because you made it, and it's telling you, hey, you committed, open a pull request. But I don't see Ramon's. Refresh.
Like it has the one. That's weird.
Oh, he said, whoops, 1 sec.
JK.
And he said,
it has the one that's closed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back. Yay.
Oh, this is good. He might make us do a comment to help him to make it be approved.
Okay. No description provided, but that's his comment.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And we can look at the files changed to see his code. Cool.
Oh, yeah, I think it is. One stayed the same. Line 2 stayed the same. Maybe. So we added a third line. I don't know. I'm just guessing on that now.
Yeah, it does seem right. Now we can make a comment and tell him to improve something, or we can suggest something.
Can I fix it from here instead of asking him to fix it?
You can suggest the change, but he still has to fix it, or he still has to accept the change. So
Okay.
let's do it.
So wait, I would.
You can do it where we were in the files changed, and hover over wherever you see the mistake, and you see those little plus signs. If you click them, how do we do a suggestion again? I kind of forget. What's that plus or minus sign? I wish I could circle. It's
this one?
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Add a suggestion. Click that, and then there you go. You can add that suggestion for him.
Typo.
Cool.
Corrected typo or typo. Oh, from I think that's what you had it as.
So meta, because you like corrected a typo of the word typo.
Yeah. All right. Start a review.
Yeah, you can do that. And then I guess you can do finish your review. If that's all you wanted to change.
Yeah. And that's kind of cool. All right. Finish your review. And then without explicit oh, no. Okay, so why would I comment it? Submit general feedback without explicit approval. So that would just mean that I'm giving feedback from I'm getting feedback from my teacher and they're just going to give me feedback, but it doesn't go into the main branch.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people just want to make a comment. Maybe they have questions or they just have like a small nitpick or something like that. Or they're just cheering you on, but it's not necessarily that they need you to make any changes. It's just like a free form comment, like, oh, this is cool, or why did you add this? Something like that.
Okay, cool. And then approve, we know what that one is, and submit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And then I guess we wait for Ramon
to fix it.
This was fun. I like that Ramon added in this part.
Oh,
and it already came through.
I'm like so confused by this. Okay, so it made it. Yay. It's fixed.
Yeah.
And what is? I don't understand this. Why it's there.
What part?
The no new line at end of file, and why it's in between line 2 and line 3.
I think it's just saying that in that the old way you had it when you first added that H2, you didn't press enter and add a new white space, because sometimes people do that, and it's like good to notice those changes.
That's got it. So I'm gonna approve. Thank you for fixing. Okay, fixing it.
Cool.
It.
Yay.
Merge.
Let's do this. Oh, and Ramon said, I think some coding editors are different about adding that end line thing. Oh, I did not.
Okay. All right. We have approved some merges. And now when we get, how do we, oh, that's cool. It also says, okay, whatever.
Maybe you have 2 accounts.
I probably have like 2 or 3 accounts. I don't have access to all of them either. But
yeah.
How do I see it live?
Right. Yeah, let's do it. Can you make it your browser bigger? Because I don't know, this view, yes. I forgot. Oh, Ramon made a good point. that this was essentially us doing open source. That's kind of like how open source is. Like people will open a pull request and then you approve it.
All right.
So GitHub has this thing called GitHub Pages that you can see your code live on, if it's a front end, if it only has front end. Like if it has back end, it doesn't support that. But if it's like HTML, CSS, or React or something like that, or Jekyll, you can see it there. So I think if you go to settings, I hope I'm right. It's actually not there, not that settings. There's two different settings. The repository.
Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, but I see where you're going. And if you go to on the left hand side, there's the word pages. Yeah, we're putting it on GitHub Pages. And okay, right here it says choose the source. So you can choose if you want it on which branch, and we can put the main branch. Yeah. And if you press save, so it's not yet, so it's going to be published at teachmegen.github.io/Rizèl is the best. When we go there, we might get a 404 page, but click it and let's see.
I don't like that it didn't open a new tab. That always frustrates me. I'm like, can't you just open a new tab so I don't have to go back to this?
I know, I hate that too. Sometimes I right click it and then it'll
yeah. But okay, so I will site not found.
Yeah, so we can see, so it's probably in progress. And if we go to scroll up a little bit, there's the word actions at the top. We'll see it being built out. So if we click into that action, this is a little bit more advanced, but basically it's using automation to take your code and deploy it onto this live site. So it shows you when it's done. It's done now, and we can go back to that tab and press refresh. Enter.
Or a different letter. Yay!
There it is. So it's not necessarily localhost, but you can use it to preview your code, and you can share that link with other people, and make little websites for free.
So I'm just thinking back on all the other ones. Okay. I feel like I'm good. Was there anything else you wanted to teach me? Because I feel like I'm knowledged out at the moment. In the fact that I didn't mean to make it that big. There we go. I was like, hello. That is something that I think is a he mentioned Ramon mentioned portfolios. How do you figure out what projects to create? So many people have been like, hey, to get noticed, you got to go make some projects and get do commits to open source. And I'm just like, I don't even know the words you just said, which I mean, now I do. And thank you, Rizel. This is super, super helpful. I'm like, okay, so I'm at least seeing how these are all put together. Yet I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know much about it yet, that I don't understand what they all do.
Yeah, these are
where did you start?
Great questions. And I agree with Ramon, it's a hard question. People ask me that a lot, what projects do you make? I'm not really a project person much, to be honest. Some people like to code for fun. And they're just sitting there, I think, thinking of cool things that they wish existed. And they're like, I'm going to spend my weekend doing this. I'm not that kind of person. I'm spending my weekend outside. But when I have these projects, it's been from my boot camp, they show me how to make something, or they tell me about making something. I upload it to GitHub, or they have a final demo day and they're like, what is the final project you want to have? I sat there and thought of something. I made a natural hair augmented reality thing. So it decided on what people took a little quiz. It decided on what hair type they had, and then there was a little augmented reality pop-up girl that popped up and it was like, this is you. But yeah, you can.
That seems very advanced. I get excited for just having text on the screen.
I followed multiple tutorials and just bunched them all together.
Nice. That's like the next couple days I'm going to be doing co-working with Jenn as well. I redo a lot of these projects of doing them live and like hoping that I can figure it out. But I will say, like, this is starting to make sense. Yay. More sense. I'm very excited.
That's good. Yay. I'm so happy. And yeah, like you can if you have project ideas, go ahead. Or what some people do is like they follow a tutorial and then they build up on it. Like they'll follow like a tutorial on building an Instagram clone and they're like, what if I added in this? And they'll just Google their way to doing it. But I'm glad that it's starting to make sense. I hope it wasn't too overwhelming because there's a lot in GitHub.
Yeah, I know that you wanted to come back on and talk about it more too, because like also I do want to say that Yere is coming on again tomorrow night, and Ramon is coming on again on Monday, and AJ said he'd be back, and then we're gonna have Ramon and AJ together.
Oh, that's so fun!
Like merging a front end and back end to make a full API. Is that what we were talking about, Ramon? I think so. We'll see. So it is definitely growing and I'm learning. And for y'all listening and watching, please let me know. Yes, it was a full stack app. Please let me know what questions you have, what you want to learn. If you want to come on, learn live with me, that is dope too. We have lots of really cool teachers. Or if you think there's somebody I should reach out to have on the show. Because this is a thing that 2 weeks ago did not exist. Or did I know that it would exist? So just get out there.
Yeah.
And Rizel, I know we have your Twitter on tagged. Anywhere else you would suggest people reach out to you at?
No, Twitter's good.
I really like Twitter.
Yeah, it's easy.
Now that I'm learning it. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. See you again tomorrow.
Bye.